Tears fall like rain from the clouds up above. For people who live on the dark side of love. For them, gone is the melody of love's old sweet song. But right or wrong, they still string along. All those who cheat on their husbands and wives may carry the guilt for the rest of their lives.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Hughes.
And I'm Bobby Trippett.
And today we're going to be talking about 1975's Dr. Minx.
Dangerous? She's a doctor.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
I said it, knocker. Spooky ain't got no real rhythm.
Hello, Mr. Man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
This is Los Angeles.
How the hell would women live? I'm horny. And maybe Daddy wouldn't have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore. What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get green. And more.
So guys, Dr. Minx.
Oh boy.
One of our Patreon picks. This one is from Amber, who I have to confess is a friend of mine. I know Amber very well, and she didn't know what movie to pick, so she painstakingly went through IMDb looking for the weirdest movie she could find, and found one named after a bar she used to really like in San Francisco, the Minx, which has since been closed. I was there the night it closed. It was
Due
a
to
sad
association
night for
with
all.
this film?
I wish. It was owned by Dr. Minx. So she picked this movie. She's very concerned that everybody's going to rip it apart and hate her for picking it. I don't think that's the case.
Let she make it?
No, this was made by one of my favorite Grindbin directors, who is Howard Avedis, also known as Hickman Avedis, because what better way to hide your name than to just still use the last name and call yourself Hickmet?
They'll never find you.
The director of The Teacher and Amber's favorite movie we've ever covered on the podcast, Scorchy.
Yes.
Which, Hughes, you've never seen Scorchy,
I've never seen
but I have
Scorchy.
to say, that is one movie that is... That's probably one of my favorite episodes we've done, and probably one of my favorite movies, because it's so bizarre.
Well, maybe you'll do an anniversary episode and then I'll watch it.
Oh, I love Scorchy. That would be a good one to do a commentary on.
That one, I think better than an anniversary episode, we should do a commentary on
Oh.
Scorchy. Get Hughes in there. 'Cause that is a fun-ass movie.
Yeah, Scorchy, just like most of his movies, he really thinks he's going for that, female empowerment. Howard just...
Whoops.
He's swinging for the fences, and like I say before, barely can't even get a foul ball.
Sometimes you miss the ball, the bat flies out of your hand, and hits some poor sap in the face.
According to this movie, she should have been a nurse instead of a doctor.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to get to that, where it's like a lady doctor. Holy shit.
What do they think of next?
The music, by the way, the only other person I have for the crew is Shorty Rogers, who's a Grindbin All-Star as well, because he did the music for The Teacher. And I got to say, I love Shorty's scores.
Did Shorty also
Shorty
do this,
scores is a
this
porn.
Dark Side of Love?
No, I do
song?
have that written down.
Hey,
Don't
hold
worry.
on, I don't mean to walk on that, Hughes. You're absolutely right.
What did you say? I didn't hear this one, Hughes.
What did you say? Shorty something?
Shorty Rogers.
You said Shorty
Shorty scores.
Shorty scores?
Yeah, that's a porn.
That's Hughes' alternate name in his other job.
Oh, no, Shorty Rogers, Grindbin All-Star, also did the music for his other movie, The Teacher.
Wonderful.
He's got some bizarre, jazzy, like inappropriate jazz, I'd call it, because everything's like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. A guy's getting shot in the face, yeah, and that's how the movie goes.
Sounded kind of like Aha. Thought you were going to take on it.
But he also did music for Looney Tunes, so that's why
Wow.
Shorty's got that aesthetic,
So we can imagine that crossover.
Yeah.
Where Scorchy showed up and stopped Elmer Fudd.
Well, Scorchy does her best Bugs Bunny throughout the whole movie.
Well, that's
so.
the truth.
The Dark Side of Love, Bobby, as you mentioned, an original song written
man.
for this movie.
This song rips.
Oh, God. I love it, by the way. We're
And then
playing
it gets real preachy. And you're just like, I don't know about this anymore.
Well, like all Howard and Venice movies, they get preachy because he always makes everybody atone for their sins by the end of a movie.
He is definitely the disappointed dad of Grindbin cinema.
He must have had some real dark shit in his past, and also an affair with an older lady, because every one of his goddamn movies involves an older woman having an affair with a younger man.
Not that much younger. Looking at this actor.
But it's always in like a almost bizarre, like luring them in predatory way.
He's definitely trying to atone for something.
Where it's like, yeah, Howard, at some point did one of your mom's friends bring you over to like clean her closet and you ended up in the bed with her or something? Because that's what it seems like.
That
to
was
me.
the second 50 Shades of Grey.
Is that by the way, never seen one of those movies.
Resident 50 Shades expert Chris Hughes.
I saw a movie the other day. That trailer played. I laughed my ass off for the new 50 Shades of Grey.
The first 50 Shades of Grey, I took my mom on Valentine's Day to go see it with my girlfriend.
He had to add that in.
I wasn't alone. I didn't take my mom alone.
You'll love this one, Mom.
But that movie was hilarious. Through the whole movie, cracking up, right? We get it after, and then we start watching it with drinking games, just like we used to do with Showgirls.
Okay.
Showgirls.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. It's so horrible. Every time that she puts a pen to the lips, drink.
Wow.
Every time
Bobby,
you're in the red room, drink.
do yourself a favor and watch the trailer for the new one.
Oh, I've seen the trailer for the new
I'm
one.
like, what am I missing? This is fucking crazy, and it looks great. Like,
What?
all of a sudden she's like, I'm married to this guy, and then some random dude shows up, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought this
have
was
to
about a
watch
lady getting
them.
tied up.
No, it's about everything, and it's about Gray and his, like, he was raped by an older woman,
Oh my god.
and then they find out they apologize for it.
If this was made in the 70s, audience, we would have covered it on the show.
Oh,
but
undoubtedly.
we're not going to.
Undoubtedly.
So. And I'll never watch any of them, but it's great. It's
You
like
have
that.
to.
If you ever want to see the best Tyler Perry movie, it's that serious one he made.
Temptation?
Something about
Hey,
like
you should know better than us.
Yes,
Yeah,
about where the lady
Temptation.
gets AIDS because she cheats on her husband, and then in the end she has to buy AIDS medication from her husband.
And his new wife.
I have a weird film going experience with a parent story as well. I don't know if I've ever brought this up on the show before, but I first saw Titanic on a double date with my father.
Oh,
Yeah, he was lining one up with this lady who had a daughter about my age, and so he's like, "Son, I need you to do me a solid." And yeah, so I watched Titanic on a double date with my dad. Things didn't go anywhere with myself and that person. I hope things went well for Dad, but
Mike and I and my little sister went and saw 8 Mile.
oh yeah, that was a fun one.
And my mom.
Yeah, we saw that with Hughes' mom. That was a good one.
but she wasn't like, "Don't fuck this up for me."
She picked it, so she's a big Curtis Hanson fan. So, The Dark Side of Love, as I mentioned, original song written for this movie, music by Sammy Fain, lyrics by Paul Francis Webster, and sung by Ernie Andrews. 3 people to write one fucking song, apparently.
And it paid off big.
Goddamn, what a hit. You can't find it outside of this movie, because I looked, and you're hearing the movie version.
This
in
is
the
like the
beginning of this.
exclusive Oingo Boingo song for Surf 2.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Side of Love could have made maybe broke the top 40. I don't know. Maybe.
It broke a few things.
So the cast of this movie, Edie Williams, who plays Dr. Carol Evans, or as I like to call her, Dr. Minx, because that's what the poster tells me, definitely changed the name of this movie before it was released because they got it and they're like, this is a pile of shit, Howard. How are we going to sell this?
What do you think it was called originally?
I don't know.
Oh, it
Doctor.
probably had some kind of preachy, like, warding type thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't even know. Probably like fucking some Bible quote or something. I don't know.
No, like Predatory Doctor or something like that.
Predatory Doctor. That's it. Yeah. Open wide. She's a Grindbin all-star,
What do we
guys.
do about Gus?
Did you know Edie Williams has appeared on this show before?
No.
Grindbin All-Star.
What?
Chained Heat. Huh. She's in that movie. I looked up pictures of her. Not safe for work.
Is she delivering all of her lines through her teeth in that movie?
Shove it. Shove it.
It's like she got her jaw wired shut.
Apparently, she's delivering them through a canyon because the only scene she was in a lesbian love scene, Bobby. So
All right.
that's unfortunately the only pictures you can find of Edie Williams in Chained Heat in a lesbian.
She's partially
sandwich.
obscured.
Yeah, that was an interesting one to look up. I'm like, close that tab. By the way, this movie, don't watch it with anybody even close to you in the room or anything, because it is a straight up half porno.
But it's not alluring. It's not like
Oh,
it's not
no.
sexually arousing. It's just this person doesn't know what clothes are.
Yeah, like even when she goes home, it's just whatever see-through object she can find.
This is another moving target situation where it gets to a point where you're like, will you put a goddamn shirt on already? Try to watch this movie.
Well, the fact that she's wearing these nighties and whatever, and the distance between one nipple to the next is like a football field.
12 parsecs.
And I don't know what's keeping these things closed, like on.
I don't know.
I can't wait to get. Wait. There's a scene where she just walks into a room, takes off her top, and then it cuts.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get through this first. Okay, she has a very interesting past. I don't know if you know about Edie Williams, but she's pretty notorious.
No, I don't know much about her.
So she started her career as a model and then moved to low-budget movies. She had very brief mainstream success in like 2 movies that were released wide. One of them was The Secret Life of an American Wife from 1968, a movie nobody's ever heard of, but it stars Walter Matthau, and it was a big movie at the time.
I hope it's just like this film, but Walter Matthau.
No. Apparently it's about a wife becoming a call girl on the side to like stick it to her husband.
We've seen that movie.
Yeah. So it's like half the movies we cover on this podcast. However, everything changed when she got involved and eventually married Russ Meyer.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. Edie Williams was married to Russ Meyer, and she appeared in 1970's Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Wonderful.
And 1971's The 7 Minutes, which was another Russ Meyer's movie. But then they divorced in 1975, and instead her boyfriend became Mickey Cohen. That's right, the infamous gangster Mickey Cohen, the one Harvey Keitel, I believe, won an Academy Award for portraying. She got involved with him, and in lieu of becoming a better actress, she just decided to promote herself in attention-grabbing ways. So, like the original Kim Kardashian, basically.
Oh, nice.
Why not?
She would just walk around half naked and get the tabloids to take pictures of her. She would show up to the Oscars every year wearing something even crazier than last year because she needed that attention.
No such thing as bad press.
And she just basically said, like, yeah, my career is going to be, like, in the public eye. And she would just randomly appear in movies and usually not with big roles.
So
it was just
trying to pull a Zsa Zsa.
Yeah. So a few of that I have because she went basically all into exploitation movies because Russ Meyer killed her career in terms of mainstream success. I mean, if you're in a Russ Meyer movie, yeah, it's a real whoops. 1977, she was in The Happy Hooker Goes to Washington. 1983, Chain Heat. 1984, Hollywood Hot Tubs.
Oh, boy.
Now, have anybody... That sounds like a movie like more people would have seen.
Sounds like a Fred Olin Ray movie.
Okay. It's not Fred Olin Ray, but let me read the description to you because this is definitely going to show up on a Grindbin in the future.
Okay.
A teen and his friends get into trouble for vandalizing the Hollywood sign. And rather than going to prison, he opts to work for his uncle's hot tub repair company. So that's like a fucking choice? In court, they're just like, you can either go to prison or work for your uncle because he's just as bad. And he's like, well, I guess I'll take the hot tub.
Yeah, that. Do you remember that trope? Like every time you got in trouble, you could just go do something else instead of jail.
It's like, you know what you need, kid? Not jail because you're a white kid. A job. And then you go
when you commit a crime and they just give you a job.
Yeah.
Police Academy.
Yeah.
That's
like,
the whole
you
series.
need some direction.
Either go to jail or become a cop.
All right, well,
I guess I'll be a cop.
It would be great if he was like, no, I'll take the jail.
Yeah, I don't trust cops. I'm going to jail.
The sleazy salesman drums up business by sabotaging the tubs at the Hollywood Hot Tubs and wooing the owner. I don't know how that drums up business. The nephew begins falling in love with the secretary at his uncle's company, but risks losing her when caught in compromising but unintentional situations while he goes about his duties as a tub repairman.
Oh, God, that sounds terrible.
It's just a porn.
Yeah, it sounds like, oh, I'm here to fix the hot tub.
How many
do you have any sausage for me?
Do you think there's a time when he gets his dick stuck in one of the tubes?
Yes. Is it the fat kid from Joysticks?
Oh, we can only hope McDorf is 3-time Grindbin All-Star in that case.
Is there a smash cut to a fat guy's asshole in that
I'm
movie?
sure there is. And it will be appearing soon if I could track down a copy. Hollywood Hot Tubs.
I'm sure you can.
That'll be a man
Coming
pick.
soon to a Grindbin near you.
Man, do you want that as your pick? Great. Last one. Okay, hold on. I got a few. Just 2 more. 1988, Redded Lips. Okay. Read this, and then you're going to be fucking shocked at who made this movie. A documentary filmmaker who has spent the last 15 years making films like Aluminum, Our Shiny Friend, is finally given the chance to make the documentary on Indian farming he's always wanted to. The catch? He must simultaneously direct a porn film. But as he tries to make the porn film, which he turns into a musical called Halloween in the Barracks, He must deal with a temperamental actor, a fundamentalist preacher, and other obstacles. Does that sound like a porno to you?
No, it sounds like Star Wars. We're trying to do 2 movies at once.
Well, it was directed by Robert Downey Sr.
Wow. Oh, it's close. Disney.
And written and stars Martin Mull, who's a longtime character actor and comedian. He wrote and starred in that movie alongside Jennifer Tilly.
What year?
Yeah, 1988.
What kind of Mad Libs is this?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is this movie?
Yikes.
1990, nudity required. Okay, this is a one-sentence description that Edie Williams appeared in this movie. 2 friends use the casting couch to seduce women while pretending to be movie producers. And that...
Oh, that old chestnut.
That's an industry.
Yeah. Is this a documentary?
Yeah, nudity required. 1990,
It's a Michael Moore documentary.
I'm registering that domain right now.
1990, Bad Girls from Mars was the last movie she appeared in. She's still alive, but no longer acting or doing much modeling. She's probably just living off that, tabloid money.
Just Livin, man.
Randy Boone, who plays Brian.
Fantastic.
He is the nephew of Richard Boone, a prolific actor from the 50s, and he's also the cousin of Pat Boone.
All right.
Oh, wow.
The gospel
Does his
country
cousin
singer.
approve of this movie?
I doubt it.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
He started his acting career in TV and then landed a big recurring role as Randy Benton on 1964's The Virginian. He was in like 74 episodes of that show. And then he had a starring role in a movie nobody saw called Country Boy in 1966. And then he just went back to TV, did very few movies. 1973, he did Terminal Island, which will be an episode at one point.
Certainly.
And 1987, The Wild Pair, which is his last credit, which starred Beau Bridges and Bubba Smith from Police Academy.
Bubba Smith.
It's a buddy cop movie that was also directed by Beau Bridges.
Wow.
Don't you love IMDb? You can find all these like hidden gems. Like, I didn't know Beau Bridges made a buddy cop movie.
With
And
Hightower?
Yeah, and directed it? What? He uses that kind of loss of
I think
words.
that's my favorite sound clip of it. He was just like a half-breathed, what?
And do you think his dad was in it? Of course he
Yes,
was.
but just like Bubba Smith, what was he doing at this time? Like, didn't he have a career? Was this just in between seasons?
I don't know. I guess he was like, well, I was a cop in Police Academy. I might as well be a cop in this movie.
I've already got the uniform.
The pairing everybody wanted. Beau Bridges, Bubba Smith. William Smith.
The Riggs and Murtaugh you really wanted.
The William Smith, Grindbin All-Star from Policewoman, Scorchy. He was the preacher guy in Scorchy.
Yes.
If you notice him.
Yes.
In Policewoman, he was the karate guy who got his ass kicked. He's probably been in more. He's in like 200 movies, including like every goddamn Grindbin movie.
He'll undoubtedly walk by in at least 7 more movies.
Yeah, sometimes he's only in it for one line. Sometimes you just see his face. He's in like every goddamn movie.
Pop up in the corner like the toasty guy from Mortal Kombat.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, I do think actually that he would just show up on set and just kind of toasty his way into everything. He's like,
Yeah,
you
the
got to
catering's
roll.
right there.
Maybe he just kicks some guy's ass and just shows up as him. Because, I mean, he's a rough looking dude.
Yeah.
Like,
looks like
good-
he could hold his own.
Yeah. But he get his ass kicked by the policewoman, Lacey Bond. And the last person I'm going to mention, guys, now I bet you didn't know this while watching the movie. Harvey Jason, who plays David in this movie. Would you believe he has over 100 credits on IMDb?
What?
And would you believe he was in 1967's Batman, the movie?
No.
He was in that movie.
Was he Commodore Schmidt-Lab?
I don't know who. I
Was he
should have
King
written
Tut?
down. No, he was obviously a kid.
He's one of the goons.
He was a child. He was 1967.
Stunt double for Burt Ward.
there you go.
So he was also in The Lost World Jurassic Park.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Stunt double for Burt Ward?
With like an actual name character and everything.
Who
I'm
was
like,
he?
what the fuck? I don't know. He was in over 100 things. I wasn't going to go through them all. He's like a prolific voice actor. He's in every goddamn cartoon you've ever seen. In 2001, he stopped doing all sorts of acting and voice acting. And the last things he did were Star Wars video games. And he was in The Curse of Monkey Island, if you ever play any of those games.
I remember
which
that.
I have.
Yeah. Those are good.
Yeah, he does some of the voice in later games.
Hey, that's cool.
That's all I got. There's absolutely no information about the release of this movie, the reception, reviews, nothing.
I understand no one wanted to talk about it.
This movie was never released.
Oh, it was.
No.
It got
It had
out.
Edie Williams. That was the whole draw. They're like, come see Edie naked. In
Yeah.
case you haven't already.
It's like a Connie Stevens thing. This is the film where Connie Stevens.
Yeah, and the trailer said bring the tissues at the end of it, and I'm sure they did.
Because this one's a real jerk.
It was definitely needed.
So this, by the way, so we've seen other Howard Avedis movies. I don't know if you've ever seen The Teacher.
I have not yet, no.
It is a good movie with much higher production values than this shit, which was made apparently after. This was made after The Teacher, which is, I was just like, this is insulting. The production values in this movie are horrific.
You know how in Guitar Hero you'll be doing fine and then you hit one sour note and it just goes dunk and the whole song like stops?
Yeah.
That happens. Doesn't matter how good you've been doing the last 2 minutes.
I think it derails immediately with this slow, shaky-ass panic shot of L.A. Wait, I guess we're in L.A.? Like the Valley or something? This
We
looks
totally are. Because this movie's sponsored, as you see in the credits, by the Pleasure Dome of Hollywood, located on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Who
So we,
provided
like,
all the outfits for Dr. Minx.
pan over like the old Valley,
Yeah.
and it looks like shit. Like everything, the camera, the lighting, the town, it all looks like shit. And then, but the only thing that's the bright side is the Dark Side of Love is playing, which really brightens my day. I'm listening to it going like, yeah, all right. There you go, Howard, again with your great original music you always get for the movies.
Mike's been bumping this in his car ever since he saw this movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know it.
Pulling it up on YouTube so he can listen to it on his
Not
phone.
not only is it a song, but it teaches you a lesson. So.
That's the best kind of
Yeah.
song. So give you one to grow on.
So then we go to a nice house and the sounds of sex.
Yeah, we're getting right into it.
That's right. Dr. Minx has already got her claws out.
Oh man, making a house
This
call.
this may be the fastest nudity.
Yeah, you used to time it, Hughes, and then you just gave up when
Well,
you gave up
yeah.
on this podcast.
Like the
Yeah.
only way to beat this now is if a movie opens on tits.
Or if we have a dedicated fan that'll go through every movie we've covered and count the seconds.
We
to the
have a
first hit.
couple of those.
I remember the old bright-eyed Hughes who would he'd come to this podcast being like, all right, I timed it when the first pair of boobs come on, and then by the 3rd episode he's on, he's forgotten everything he said he was going to ever do.
Now
and
he's just got a 1,000-yard stare. He's chain smoking.
he watched Dr. Minx.
This show darkened his heart.
He told us today he watched Dr. Minx in 40 minutes. Which, by the way, if you do watch this movie at 2 times speed, you're not missing anything. Like,
Which,
literally 7 things happen in this
Fellas,
movie.
I watched this thing at normal ass speed.
Oh, so did I. Because I'm faithful to this podcast, Hughes. And
That's
I watch
fine.
everything in normal speed.
I just do it regularly at 2x. Everything.
So everybody sounded like a cartoon character to you.
No, actually, it's not that bad. I get everybody's voice.
See, everyone in this movie at least delivers their dialogue so slowly and low that like it probably sounded normal to you.
methodic.
This is...
Columbo. His appearance was so
Hey,
perfect.
spoilers, Hughes. Let's not.
Did they all just like have to go at Edie's speed?
Yes.
Like she's got to take everything slow. So Howard's like, all right, well, we don't want to make her sound dumb, so everybody else has got to talk equally as slow.
It's like in the DC movies how they have to have everyone on Themyscira talk like Gal Gadot, which they do in those films, so that it seems like, well, that's just everyone from that island talks like that.
Because they're like, can you do an American accent? She was like, nope.
Can you do any accent? She's like,
Nope.
Like, all right, whatever. I guess that planet's from Israel, huh?
And she's wonderful, but, you know,
Whoa.
he was pulling a face about Gal Gadot.
You don't need to call me out on it. I didn't like Wonder Woman. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Neither did my wife. Dr. Minx, so she's sexing it up with Grindbin All-Star William Smith.
Who, in this film, as Gus, looks like Evil from New Year's Evil.
Yeah, I can
When
see
he's got
that.
the mustache on, he's got
Yeah.
the same...
You know, he probably could have done New Year's Evil.
Absolutely.
So
He was busy with Dr. Minx, though.
So he had sex, right? He finishes up, and then he goes, so when are we going to get married?
What?
And she's like, I don't know about that. None of that.
We don't need to get married.
She's like, what's the rush? And I put, she's an independent lady, like Scorchy, She
No, that's not what she says. Because right after that, under her breath, she goes, I need more time to forget.
And that Hughes just did that in 2 times speed because in 1 time it takes about a minute to get that line out. But no, this is what I was saying. She's an independent lady, right? She's like a gal on the go. She's a doctor. She didn't need no man to fill her. No, she does.
Did you know that she was a doctor at this point? Did you
No.
even know what her character name was?
I just thought she was the doctor of minxing. Like,
Of course you knew she's a doctor. The movie's called Dr. Minx.
Yeah.
I
We
she have
open
a-
on a Minx.
She didn't have a lab coat on in bed. She
There-
wears it a lot.
There's a thing with these movies that we cover that I I always write down the characters that we see first because we usually will never see them again.
That's true. There's
It's
a lot of
almost
cold,
always, that's a pretty good
a lot
rule.
of cold openings in Grindbin.
And that's exactly what this was. I'm like, this person and that person are having sex, and they want the guy wants to get married, and the woman doesn't. Da, 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 da.
So you're watching this going, maybe one of them is going to go see Dr. Minx.
Who the hell knows? It could be
Maybe
it could be
Dr. Minx is like a relationship therapist.
couples counselor.
No,
That's fair.
He immediately goes into he like grabs her by the neck,
Throat.
Yeah, it gets
and he's
intense.
like, "No, hey, we're gonna get married because your husband died, and I only got $25,000 out of that shit, and I want half of the real money. You know, you got $500,000 in this house. I want $250,000 because I'm gonna start my own construction business." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! We are laying it on.
We got fucking, we got blackmail, we got a murder plot. It's minute 3. We're like, all right, we're not wasting any time.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, Howard, let's just get to it, I guess.
And during this, he's getting dressed, and thanks to some fancy editing, he gets dressed faster than she can put her other tit in. Like, he's fully clothed out of nowhere.
She calls him a son of a bitch. He wants all
And
you wanted
screams-
was the money.
She screams, "Get out!" at someone already leaving, which is always fun.
Yeah, because he goes, "I'm leaving," and she's like, "Get out!"
He's like,
And
right,
then
that's the idea.
She walks to the stairs, and she's like, "Get out!"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I know. I'm going for the door."
Get in the car.
She pulled
You
a gun
drive
on
away.
him. She pulled a gun on him.
In this scene?
Yeah, out of that drawer.
Holy shit! I didn't even notice that. The quality of the film's so bad, I didn't get it. He wasn't afraid or anything.
No.
Did Will know that she?
Yeah, he like pushes it out of the way.
Was he like, Edie? Come on.
Nonsense.
Because she does it when he sits down to put his shoes on the bed. Yes, we watched this much of him getting dressed.
I was like, okay, so this is how he's like gonna coerce her into agree to marry. Like maybe take a little like coy approach to it. Do you know what I mean? Like just maybe be like play along. Seems like the relationship was going fine.
Less is more, Gus.
She even said like I need to think about it, and he's like, no, I want that money. And it's like, well, now the answer is no.
Yeah, he really escalated that. He kind of shot himself in the foot there.
Then he says, you need to pay me off because I, quote, earned it. Uh-huh. And then he says something about how she killed the husband and they planned to kill her. And I'm like, okay, Howard, this is a lot of stuff in 2 minutes. Like,
Take it
what
easy.
the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I wrote down, I wish I knew who they were.
You're just like, is this going to come into play? Or
He was
wish
just,
I knew who they were.
He was just staring at the screen like, man, that other movie was intense. Whatever thing I missed.
like typically, you'd think a movie would just kind of lay the exposition out in the first, 15, 30 minutes so we get that first act, but boom, we're ready.
There's a part in this movie where they discuss something that happened, and I feel like I missed it, and I go back to find it, and it never happened.
It's like this movie started with previously on Dr. Minx.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes right into it.
Like, wait, what?
So then we get to Minx driving, okay, and then all of a sudden she stops because there's two guys on the road and a crash bike, and one of them's on the ground, and this guy, he's just like something about how like it fell over and the guy's hurt.
These two grown-ass men riding bikes.
And I thought
And we don't mean motorcycles.
Yeah,
but
and I
we're
thought it
meaning
was
bicycles.
the guy who just left.
Yeah, you're like, wait, what is
Well,
going
it's
on?
because these are supposed to be teenagers, but these dudes are like 40 of their a day.
They are under 18 is what they're supposed to be
Right,
for this
that's what I'm
movie.
saying. They're
yeah.
supposed to be high school students, but these guys are like older than
Yeah.
these kids' dads should look.
They're like, well, maybe his friend David is in his 20s or something, but Mr. Boone,
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian, who I just called Crash because I didn't even hear his name. I just kept calling him
names are
Crash.
not-
Names come later.
We got Crash
You
and
have to go
Horseshack.
back.
So yeah, Crash and Columbo is basically.
Oh, we'll get to.
No, it's
he's not Columbo
Horseshack.
yet. He's
He looks like
Horseshack
Horseshack
first.
from Welcome Back, Mr. Qatar.
So we got Crash and Horseshack.
Who fell over riding bicycles together.
And then they're like, she goes, hey, it's okay. By the way, so Edie Williams leaving the house in basically what amounts to a bathrobe.
Yeah.
Why? Where was she going?
By the way, in 19...
She's upset. She's under duress. Like she needs to do a little driving. This is a John Wick thing. She's going to the airfield to do donuts.
Apparently in 1974, a bra was not invented.
No.
That's true.
Because she, even going to work, has not found out that you can support your breasts with an undergarment, because she just walks around with them hanging out in the middle of public.
Hey, you know what? God love you.
And she immediately runs up and she's like, I'm a doctor, in her bathrobe.
And she says it in a way that does not instill confidence. If you're injured,
yeah, but I mean, again, so Horseshack kind of looks at her like, I think I'm in a porno. because this lady with no with their boobs out is coming up saying she's a doctor and she's going to make us feel better and everything. And she's like, let's carry your friend into the car, which is like, fucking doctor.
They don't care about spinal injuries in whatever time this movie is taking place.
Well, they invented spinal injuries after they invented bras. So we're way before.
So they basically, I'll take the legs, you take the arms, and they
We'll
just drag them across the ground
and
and
we'll throw them in the car.
roll them into the car.
It's like the beaver paramedics doing the hut, 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 hut. They take the bike instead of him.
So they roll him into an emergency room, and then the guy's parents show up. And so wait, hold on. All these people show up. And by the way, my favorite character in this whole movie only appears once, and I was so sad.
The big fat uncle?
The fat
Oh my
guy
God.
was so good. Like, his line deliveries are just amazing.
And he has so much to give us information-wise. This man is obese with exposition.
I don't think anybody...
His cheeks are so puffy because they're filled with plot points.
Nobody expected what he was going to say to come out. Because nobody's acting to what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
He's just going for it.
Did he just run with the movie? Like,
think
he's
so.
just like, you know what? This is my only scene. I don't know who I'm related to in the movie. I don't know who he's related to still today, right now. I don't know who this is.
Because it's perfect. He goes like, I'm going to sell that bike. He goes, how the fuck are you going to sell my bike? It's not your bike. It's my bike.
Yeah,
I'm going to sell it.
It's
Like,
a real.
Who are you?
It's a real Alec Baldwin and Glengarry. Is everybody here? Fuck it, I'm going.
And he looks at David or Horseshack, and he's basically like, you're a real show-off on that bike, always going around on your motorbike, speeding around town. I'm going to sell that bike. I'm going to do this and this.
With your
and we're gonna
penis
take it to
out.
the farm. You tried to get a job once. Like, whoa, slow the fuck down, guy. What are you talking about?
Forgot about the farm.
I got a lot of information to get out. I'm not paid here by the hour.
I'm like, this fat guy is incredible.
Awesome.
Is what
I wish he'd shown up more.
I thought he was going to be like the main. I thought he was the guy's dad, and I'm like, oh, thank God! Like, this guy better be a recurring character.
With all of David's sleuthing, I was hoping we'd find out later that he's getting all of his info from this fat uncle. Here's what's going on. Listen,
whose uncle is he?
everyone's.
I don't know. They don't.
Was he just?
He's the movie's
None
uncle.
of this makes any sense to me. You're telling me this guy claimed he was an uncle?
No. I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
it wasn't a dad.
We don't know who he is.
I have no idea. I go, this is my notes. Now the kid's family comes and someone's going to sell his bike or something.
It just
that's
makes no
accurate.
sense. And then some guy demands. He's like, I want to see the doctor, who I think is Dave. I think is Crash's dad.
That's
right?
Crash's dad.
Okay, so Crash's dad is like, I want to see the doctor, and then Minx walks out, and she's like, I'm the doctor, and he goes, you don't look like no doctor, because she's a lady.
Yeah, but like, she doesn't even say I'm Dr. Evans or anything like that. I'm the doctor is all. Like, it's fucking
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, and he's like,
It totally is.
Like, this would be a point to give us like who this character is for the first time in the movie, 10 minutes in, and they don't
She
do
should
it.
have said like, I'm Dr. Carol Evans, and like just has like a little intro. Instead, this guy's like, no, I need to see your manager. Like, that's how he reacts to her.
Give me
He's
a
like,
real doctor.
Yeah, he's like, no. Lady doctor.
You don't need no pretty lady doctor.
You know, women can be doctors.
That's
No,
true. That's our message this episode, everybody.
That's basically the conversation they have. Edie Williams is like, I can be a doctor and I don't need to wear a bra and I don't need to button my coat. I can just be a doctor with my boobs out. It's perfectly fine. Welcome to 1974, apparently.
Basically.
And everybody has a problem with it, even the women. The other women are like, oh, she's a doctor.
Well, it's not like we're more enlightened now. Log into Twitter once.
Didn't she go into it like a little bit where she was like, well, you know, my husband worked, so I just went to school and got my doctorate. And
Yeah, I just, went to school and became a doctor with 8 years of schooling, I guess. Yeah, like it's no thing. Here's the other thing. This pissed me off the whole movie. I'm like, hold on. They keep talking about how her husband's all rich. She's a fucking doctor.
Her husband was like a contractor, and she's a
I'm
doctor.
pretty sure she has more money than her husband.
Yeah, it's like she's a doctor in 1974 when they still pay doctors like a shitload of money, just
she
even
didn't-
for like a hospital doctor.
Well, the thing is, she didn't have her husband killed for his money. She just had him killed and owes Gus money for helping.
Well, at this point, I don't think she. There's nothing to point that she actually had her husband killed.
Yeah, but at the same time, do you think she was innocent? 'Cause-
Hell no.
Yeah, I don't think
Even
so.
by the end of this movie, I'm not convinced she did anything.
I'm not. Well,
Wow,
I don't know.
let's get to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
So
get to it.
okay, then we go to Minx at home. This is
Like, it was a snap cut. She,
okay. Just tell me what
yeah,
happens. Dude.
it's a snap cut from the hospital. Like, oh, your son's gonna be fine. Blah blah blah. Cut, and then she's walking through a hallway. hallway and just taking her jacket off, and under the jacket has nothing. She has no shirt on, so it's just tits come out. She walks into the den that we watch. She puts a record on, lays on the floor, cut back to the hospital the next morning.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, what the fuck? It's a weird ass cut. She throws her top down. We immediately cut to her tending for a patient.
Yeah.
Like her. So it's just the most confusing thing. Like, I don't know if they just didn't check the gate. Like, if they just kind of, whoops, that thing got cut out.
She saw the penis and she wanted to be extra cared for this man.
Yeah, apparently. Well, okay. So here's where we get into, just like in Scorchy, she needs that D, and any deal do.
Hey, who doesn't?
I mean, she's a 70s woman. She's on the prowl. She's always looking for dick, and that's just like Scorchy.
We needed
She's
the
ready
Dr.
to
Minx
roll.
Scorchy team-up movie.
How'd you become a doctor? It's what men do.
I mean, this is his movies are like he was told to make a porno and he decided to write a movie, and they're like, but you still need to make the porn, Howard. And he's like, yeah, but I'm gonna make a movie. And they're like, whatever, as long as there's an X amount of nudity.
I like the thought that Howard keeps trying to make porn and keeps fucking it up.
I think
They're
he's
like, Howard, you made a fucking movie again. Look, we're looking for porn. There's no penetration in
Howard.
this movie.
Howard, the description was, lady doctor has sex with patients. You give me this.
And he's like, look, I'm giving you penetration. I'm penetrating your mind with hard questions.
Howard, once again, we need to cut your 3-hour cut of Dr. Minx down to 80 minutes. So this is what we're going to roll with, all right? We're taking out all that side character with that fat guy and buying a farm and all this stuff. And so, again, we get a comment about how a lady being a doctor is just insanity as she's caring for the guy. Even the fucking guy is like, she's tending his wounds and everything, and he's like,
But you're a lady.
He's like, boy, I can't believe you a doctor. You're
Yeah,
a lady.
Poor Dr. Minx has to put up with this shit every day.
It's okay. It's okay because the patient, he's ready to be discharged in more ways than one, and he needs at least one more shot. But
We just walked right over.
No, we did it at the same
no,
time.
I did, yeah.
We tag teamed that shit.
And he needs one more shot, and he doesn't have to actually go to the hospital. He can come over to her house.
Yeah,
since
it doesn't.
he's in the neighborhood.
It doesn't make sense. She goes, okay, you need to leave the hospital, but then come back tomorrow for a shot, or you can come to my house tonight.
Yeah, that doesn't sound suspicious.
And then he somehow goes like, well, I'll come over to your house. By the way, this guy walked off a fucking plantation in South Carolina. Nobody else in this movie, like his family, anybody has an accent, but that Boone kid could not drop it.
Nope.
Like, he has the thickest South Carolina accent throughout this whole movie and just seems like a total fish out of water. Like, he just doesn't belong.
Okay, so we're pretty far into the first act of this movie.
Yeah.
And I have it written down. We still don't know a single name of anybody in this movie.
That's why I just called him Crash.
Yeah.
I don't think any of this matters. Names.
Like, we're all the way...
We learn them eventually.
Yeah,
'cause
we're all the way to
as
the
we get
flirt.
toward Act 3, like, every sentence has character names in it.
It was so weird to
Like,
me.
they forgot to mention it, and they're trying to make up for it.
So he's like...
And she's obviously speaking with a tone.
Yeah.
It's not all, she's trying to imply some things, but her delivery is like she took a Xanax with a martini, but she's still trying to seduce you.
There
Yeah,
was no
and you
Xanax,
know
it
what's
was all
really sexy?
Quaaludes.
Right. But I'm just saying.
What's really, really sexy, though, is talking about how she doesn't seem like a doctor because she's a lady, and then she goes, my husband died in a crash, in an accident, and then just starts going on and on. I'm like, that's not really, like, making me, like...
But understand.
But they also met in the hospital.
Yeah,
her and her husband.
We also met in the hospital. He also died in an accident.
yeah, there's
Hint,
a lot
hint.
of red flags here, but looking at the age of this high schooler, he's kind of slow.
Yeah.
He clearly got held back quite a few times for him to be 35.
You're saying his eyes are a little too close together?
Yeah,
Like
I
the
think
headlights
so.
on a Jeep.
So then somehow, okay, this is also where it doesn't make sense. She's like, stop by my house tonight. And he's like, that sounds great. By the way, can you make me dinner? I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. So not only did she invite you over to her house, but you're going to leverage her making you dinner out of that? She works as a fucking doctor at a hospital.
Mike, it's called negging.
Man, this is some pickup artist shit. Man.
And he goes,
What an alpha this guy is.
okay, he says, see it as how you're a lady doctor. I bet you're a real groovy cook. And I write, huh?
Man.
What? Then they make a date for the injection for 7 that night. Okay. There's going to be an injection for sure. And then he's okay. Then so
Horshack
comes in. And he comes in and he goes, his Crash is like, great, you can drive me home. And I go, you really think that's a good idea? After what happened last time he drove you around? I mean, that's why you're here.
What could go wrong?
Again, and there's multiple parts of this movie where they're like, we're going to send your friend David to go pick you up. I'm like, no.
Didn't he just try to kill you?
Don't you remember the last time you did that?
How did David end up in this arrangement?
I don't know.
Then the friend says, okay, and this was all off screen apparently. He goes, quote, that Carol is a great lay. I went over to her house last night. And I write, the fuck?
This is the part where
hell's going on?
I rewound back to the part where we got that cutscene of her taking her top off because that was the night and there was no Horshack in there.
No.
So I'm like, did he make it up?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't make it up. Like, he actually had sex with this woman.
I thought he was making that.
No,
man,
we'll
he
come to the
actually
part.
had sex with this woman.
It sounds 100% made up, but
Yeah.
it's so vivid and it's so descriptive about like, oh, she took me over, we had some drink,
Sure.
then we laid down by the fire.
It's the exact thing she does to the...
It's the exact same thing she does to Brian.
See, I thought it was all just made up nonsense.
No.
When he's like, I screwed your doctor. She's a bitch. I just thought this is every dude on OkCupid.
No, because
No,
when he
literally
opens
fucked...
to jump ahead like 2 seconds, when he comes to the door and interrupts their dinner party, she goes like, I told you that I'm just not into like younger guys anymore. I just want this.
Yeah, she said
I
before
took that
she...
as she had rejected him.
No.
Like he made a play and it didn't work.
He said at that part, he goes, I was thinking if you want to hang out tonight. And she says, I told you to tell me before you come over.
Man, this is a trip up.
He fucked this
He
lady
fucked
off
this
screen.
lady, and they didn't show it because just having him describe it was disturbing enough.
That's the truth.
Oh, yeah. It was like, okay, so we're
I don't
hearing
need
like
this Horshack.
a guy I assume is 18 being like, I went over to this doctor's house. Holy shit, man. He keeps calling her a bitch.
Yeah,
Which
he-
I don't understand. He's like, she's a
Well, back
she's
to
a
my.
nympho
This is
bitch.
every guy on a dating site. This dude is garbage.
This nympho bitch invited me over to her house, and then we laid down by the fire. And
She's
I
a
was,
nympho. She
I was
kept on
doing her,
fucking me.
doing her from behind, and she's wanting it all sorts of ways. And oh my god, she's fucking crazy. She's also horrible. She's a horrible lady. She's a fucking Satanist bitch.
She's the worst.
Because we didn't get the part where she goes like, you can leave now. Like, you're not spending the night. And that's when he got upset. He's like, wait, I thought I'm like, my toothbrush is here. Like, I live here now, right?
He puts on his pajamas or something, his little like transformer
his
pajamas.
smoking jacket.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
His Snoopy smoking jacket.
His Snoopy smoking jacket and his bubble pipe. And he lays down on the bench and he's like, oh no, you're gonna have to go, kid.
Like,
Don't you have school
look,
tomorrow?
I'm tired.
So yeah, apparently he really had sex with this lady off
Okay.
screen.
It was off screen, and I seriously had to rewatch for it, but it's the only thing that makes sense because it verbatim what he says happens.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
And then he goes, she's too much to handle for one guy. It's too much for one guy to handle. And then he gets into all the details. And then Minx just walks in, listens to the whole thing, and then she just walks up. She's like, "Oh hey," and he's like, "Whoops," and then runs out.
It's also worth,
she leaves.
No.
Yeah, she leaves because then Crash is where he's like, "Look at what you did. You hurt her feelings."
Yeah. It's also worth noting in this that Crash is wearing apparently hospital-issued flannel pajamas.
Yeah, very true.
He says something to the budget of this movie that they got a guy who's supposed to be in the hospital and he's just wearing his PJs that his mom bought him
Bring
back
something
home.
from home, right? And so then you get the best line is because Crash says you hurt her feelings, and he goes, the only feeling she has is between her legs. Zing!
Hickory dickory dock.
So then they get to the car ride home, and Horshack keeps going on and on about how she's, quote, a bitch. She's a blatant, obvious bitch. These are direct lines from the movie. I just keep writing, I'm not sure what he means.
She's a nympho.
Like, he just keeps going on and on about how great it was to have sex with her, but also how horrible and how he cut himself. And, like, he's like, bad boy, going home and just, I guess, saying the rosary. Because it's just... I
Yeah,
don't
he's
know,
having a real hard time with it. And Crash is like, you're bananas to all of this.
Oh, boy. And his
to which he
reaction.
responds with, bleh. Because these are teenagers. These are little kids.
These are not 18-year-olds. These are 16-year-olds.
These are supposed to be 16-year-olds.
And to cement that, he drops Crash off, right? And then he's like, hey, why don't we go up to the drive-in and pick up chicks tomorrow night? And Then Crash is like, oh no, I'm gonna go to the doctor's house and try to fuck her. And he's like, hey, fuck you! I told you she's bad. No, don't. You're bad. And then they start like almost getting in a fucking fist fight.
Yeah. They almost had to pull their slingshot.
Yeah, because like there was no backstory of Horshack if it actually happened or not. At this point, I'm like, I think he's in love with him. Like he's in love with his friend. Like
that would have been a
reveal
great
that would have
turn.
been.
Oh my god!
Because he always wants to go to the drive-in with him. Hey, since you've been hanging out with that girl,
And
you never have time for me
It would have
anymore.
made how this movie ends even more poignant.
Right?
We won't-
you know
let's-
what?
let's not say what that is
I think Hughes
yet,
is
but-
onto something though. I think that was supposed to be implied.
And he wanted to Eiffel Tower this chick so he can be naked with his friend.
This is some real Chasing Amy shit.
Yes.
That was the whole plan. All
You know, Kevin Smith was sitting somewhere and watching this movie and go like, I got this.
So he was trying to like subliminally plant this in Crash's head. Like he kept being like, you ever been to Paris? You ever seen the Eiffel Tower? He showed him pictures and stuff. He's like, look how it stands up. You know, just try to get it in his head,
So
right?
imagine he's 16 years old. He gets with her.
He's outside his window wobbling a giant H.
This is the scene that we didn't get, right? He's 16 years old. He's with the doctor.
Yeah.
He gets erect and then he starts having sex with her, but he can never finish because he's not into women. And this is the time that he realizes it. And then she starts calling him fucking like not a man. And that's why he's calling her a
Hughes
bitch.
is making a completely different movie,
Wow.
but I'm all for it. This is the 3-hour cut of Dr. Minx.
A
for
Chris
sure.
Hughes film.
Yeah, and then that's what causes this whole thing. And then he finds out he's in love with his friend.
It would have made more sense.
Yes, because that's how all my
Maybe
notes
not
are
everything
written.
you've described, but it would make more sense. So then we go to Minx's house, and Crash comes over with some flowers. Minx lets him in. She's dressed in basically a see-through shirt without a bra, which is, I guess, how you greet the 16-year-olds that come over to your house. You know, this is why every kid loves to trick-or-treat at Minx's house.
So we learned it in the Ice Cream Man.
She is. She's kind of like the resident lady in Ice Cream Man,
Yep.
but she's a doctor. She's a professional doctor.
Wait, whoa. She's a doctor. But she's a lady. What are you talking
You know,
about?
Bobby, even in 1974, ladies could be doctors.
You mean nurse?
Surely you mean nurse.
I can't believe there wasn't a part where some guy's like, oh, nurse, could you get the doctor? And she's
Right.
like, I ain't no nurse. I'm a doctor.
And a mix.
So then, also, she invites him inside, and she's like, I made curry for dinner, and she's so worldly.
I thought it was fucking fondue. You saw the fondue set out? I'm like, oh, they're eating fondue.
Well,
That's so
okay.
80s.
She says she's making curry, and then at one point, he like grabs the oven, and he's like, ow! When he just
As mentioned
touches
before,
the oven.
he's an idiot.
Well, I started to keep saying as this movie goes on, my recurring note was, because Dr. Minx and Crash are dumb. That's
Everyone
what I
in this
just
movie's
explained
dumb.
for basically every action in this movie. So she's made curry, but first she's got to get an injection in his ass. So she makes him pull down his pants right in the kitchen and gives him the old cheek injection.
And
like he's getting steroids in a locker room.
And it was just so out of place because she has him pull down his pants. She swabs his ass, injects him, wipes up the blood, and then throws it on the counter.
Yeah. You know, I'm not going to stick around for the curry. I'm okay. Change my order to
Do
the
you
soup.
think that Vince McMahon ever invited Hulk Hogan over for curry and then
lot
gave
of
him the
times.
ass injection in the kitchen?
Oh,
Linda, can you take
God.
care of this one?
Oh, Terry, and he's bringing Brother Brudai with him.
Now, if they would have waited until later when they were by the fire and then didn't get a rusty trombone going, then that would have been a
Hughes, please.
scene. But I don't understand doing
Jesus
it over
Christ.
the fondue.
That would have, that would have been great if they're having sex and she's like, "Oh, I forgot your injection."
Hold that pose.
Yeah, and then she gives it a little kiss.
Just while he's in Downward Dog.
Oh God.
Man, your version of Dr. Minx is something.
Well, yeah, in your version, she would have gave him the injection and said, "Well, first we got to toss the salad," and that's exactly what happened. Yeah. So they have dinner, apparently curry fondue. And a mysterious car pulls up outside and a knock at the door.
I'm
And
like, is it Gus?
We've already ruined it. Yeah, you think it's Gus. By the way, she doesn't want to answer, which is weird. It's like, so she's sitting at the table with Crash, and he's like, "Oh boy, Dr. Minx, your doorbell, your door's ringing." And she's like, "Yeah." And then they just sit there, and he's like, "Well, you gonna answer it?" And she's like, "Oh, fine." And then walks over, opens the door, and it's David
Horshack.
and he's like, "Hey, can I come in and fuck you tonight?" And she's like, "No, I told you to call first, okay? And also, I have another guy." And he says, "Yeah, Crash told me to come in." And she's like, "Can you go home?" And then just shuts the door on him. And then she comes back and
scene.
she's like, "Yeah, that was your friend." And he's like, "Oh, fuck him again, huh?" what did he want? And he starts going on and be like, oh, he said all sorts of things about her and everything. And she's like, what did he say?
Yeah, tell me what he said. Like,
Yeah,
she's
tell me
into
what
it.
he said.
Like,
Tell
she
me what
wants
he
to
said.
hear about having sex with her. Like some guy's
I
description.
feel like she'd get off on it.
Yeah, because she's an nympho, apparently.
Yeah. And so then he does say something about how if David doesn't get his way, he gets very mad.
Right?
Yeah, this movie's taking
Yeah,
a twist.
when my boyfriend doesn't get his way, he gets really upset.
Yeah, he gets
That's
really
how it
mad
fucking
at me.
sounds.
So then they have drinks on the floor by the fire, and Crash wants to leave, but Minx coerces him to stay by basically like going like, "Oh, hold on, aren't you gonna give me a kiss?"
But this scene is
I'm
exactly-
sorry, it's Edie Williams.
Oh.
Hold on, are you gonna go without me giving you a kiss? Because that's about how long it takes.
Yeah.
And Crash is like, "Okay, I guess that's fine." And then they kiss, and he leaves.
No, she goes, wow, wasn't expecting that.
What a kiss!
That's what her fucking line was. But the thing was that was freaking me out is it's exactly as David described. Like, this is like a predator has a pattern.
Yeah.
This is the pattern.
Yeah.
Like, it was so creepy.
Yeah. I mean, she's pulling her best Deborah LaFay. She's getting those high school kids in, and she's roping them in. And here's the thing. He takes off because he's like, no, my parents are going to be real upset if I don't get home. Something about, like, got school tomorrow or something like
My
that.
mom and dad are going to worry about me.
Yeah.
Woman who wants to fuck me.
And
I
then
said only be here for a minute.
as he walks out, she just wiggles on the ground. She's like, ah! Like, it's all weird.
And floats up to the ceiling with a crucifix.
Yeah, I would have loved to see a Minx and Scorchy duo. That would have just been great.
I would have done this exact movie all the way up to this point and then start Chatterbox.
Wow.
Because she
So
just
Minx and Scorchy go meet the girl from Chatterbox?
Yeah.
Holy shit, what a duo.
What a shared universe this is.
And then go rob a bank.
Oh,
ready.
man. I want
Hands
this
up.
movie.
Like an Ocean's 11.
And
with-
Chatterbox is the leader of this gang?
Oh, for sure. For sure. So then we go to Crash's house, and so Horseshack comes by, and he's like, he says something like, "You think you're hot shit once you started dating that doctor, huh? You won't come out to me with a drive-in, try to hit on chicks?" And he's like, "No, I'm in love with her or something, you know." He's like, "Hey, look, again, off screen, I've done some detective work, all right, Crash? And apparently Minxie has killed her husband, and she got rich off it. Not because
he
she's a
just knows
doctor,
this.
because she killed her husband."
He just went and talked to the fat guy. He told him all about it.
He's a criminologist, man. He actually says, I'm a
Yeah,
criminologist.
I'm a criminal. It's like, okay, how old are these guys supposed to be? They
what
all live with their
11th
parents?
grade class is teaching him this?
Or do you also think that David is also an older person who's also trying to sleep with Crash?
David's the other predator.
Do you think
Yeah,
that
David's not in high school.
Basically, this poor country boy.
This simple, kind boy.
Simple Jack.
Poor Sybil Jack's being preyed upon
maybe
left and
slow
right.
boy
God.
is being preyed upon by two different predators. One guy who fancies himself Columbo, and another who's a lady doctor who has sex with all her patients.
What a rock and a hard place.
Okay, and then
Do you ever feel like they just took two scripts and they folded them like a pack of cards?
Like when you shuffle.
oh yeah,
Shuffle.
look again. Howard's like, well, I'm taking this porno, and then I'm gonna put the real movie that I wrote.
I feel like two people with scripts accidentally slammed into each other around a corner in a hallway.
Like peanut butter and chocolate.
Oh
yeah.
shit!
And all the pages flew up in the air and they were just grabbing at him.
Okay,
You got a plot in my porno. You got porno in my plot.
oh, that's exactly what happened. Okay, and so then because they're children, or maybe one guy isn't, they get in a fist fight on the lawn and they start rolling around playing grab ass, which I'm sure David is actually liking.
He can only roll so much with his penis stopping him.
David, goddamn it! Every time we get in a fight, you get a boner. What's
It's
wrong
not a
with
boner,
you?
It's a kickstand.
It's a fear one, I swear. You know my problem.
Fear boner.
And so then the
That
mom
broke
runs.
Hughes.
The mom runs out. And she's like, "All right, stop fucking each other. What is wrong with you?" And then
She should have put the hose on him.
But instead, she goes like, "David, go home. Come on,
She
back
actually says,
later.
"Get your butt out of here."
I'll call you next time we need our 14-year-old picked up from somewhere." And then she goes, "You got a scratch on your head, though. You should go. And let me call Dr. Minx. She'll give you some of them vitamins, right?" And Again, by the way, this character is played by Howard's wife, Marlene Schmidt, who's in every one of his movies and co-produces all his movies. In every movie, she's the lady telling the young kid to go fuck the old lady. Like, that's her role. She's always like, I don't mind it. You know, go have some fun, eh?
Kids got to learn things.
Real Mrs. Weinstein.
Well, you build up a kid's immune system by letting them play in the dirt.
Yeah, you know.
That's just her
Let him
mindset
play with
about
Dr.
everything.
Minx. You know, he'll catch whatever catch whatever he can now. You know what I mean? Just get it out of the way. There's no AIDS in 1974. Just have fun, kid.
Reagan hadn't invented AIDS yet.
So we go to Minx's house. Crash comes to the house. It's a stormy night, apparently, according to the soundtrack, because I'm hearing thunder, but I don't see any lightning or
This
anything.
looks like a windy valley day.
And so
Listening to a Halloween tape.
it really is.
You're cackling in the background.
And he's like, oh. And so he comes inside and she's like, oh, hey, where are you doing? I didn't see your car out there. He's like, I hid it because of David. And
Who could pop
we're
up
like,
anywhere at any time.
Where did he hide it? Also, he has a car?
Yeah.
Because he always needs to get picked up from places. This is news to me. And apparently, then it doesn't matter because David still shows up. Like, even though he says I hid from him, he immediately shows up to the house. And then another car pulls up and it's Gus, the guy from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And he knocks on the door. Minx answers and it's like, I'm going to be pissed if it's David. But no.
We get the classic, David sorry, hi.
Yeah, well, and then another
Who's
thing,
David?
when I write my notes, I said, well, seriously, Minx, maybe don't fuck high schoolers. And you don't have to deal with the high
That's a
school
pretty good
drama.
rule in
you know?
general.
It's like, ugh, these men and their drama. Well, for 14-year-olds, maybe, because grown men in their 20s or 30s, well, 30s, wouldn't be riding around looking for their friend who's fucking the lady doctor they fucked one night, you know?
Mike's always said that.
Yeah, I often drive up to my friends' houses and be like, why are you still with your wife?
I'm meaning to talk to you about that, Mike.
Bobby, we have podcasts to record. Get
look-
down here. You see her every day.
Sorry, that's Mike. I'll make him leave.
And I also dress up in a Columbo coat and a cigar.
That you do.
So she opens the door and, Gus just walks right in, right? Mm-hmm. And so then he pours himself a drink and she keeps saying, well, because she said David. He's like, who's David? And she's like, don't worry about it. And he keeps asking over and over again who David is. So here's the thing is like everybody apparently finds Dr. Minx repulsive except for Crash, which is bizarre because she's not at all repulsive. But like Gus is like, the only reason I had sex with you was to get your money. And it's just like, it's just bizarre. It's like, what are we supposed to believe?
I believe Gus, man. That mustache he had, he can pull any chick he wants.
That mustache has some memories.
But it's like we're told by everybody in the cast that this woman is a terribly disgusting lady.
No, they're telling each other that, and they're telling her that. This is that nigging bullshit. This is like I said, it's
weird.
Alpha male pickup artist
Because
nonsense.
because they have to put her down because she's a woman doctor.
Exactly. They're challenged by the fact that she has reached such levels.
Like the most Gus has like planned for his life is I'm going to be a construction worker.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to open a construction company.
Yeah.
And so he sees a woman who's made it, and he hasn't, and all he's got left in his quiver is, bitch, you ugly.
Yeah. And apparently it's working because he sits down on the couch with his drink and he goes, so are you going to marry me? After all that's happened, right? So you're going to marry me? And she goes, and I quote, I gave it some thought. You don't love me. You never have. You love yourself. And I put, you gave it thought? Like you actually sat there and thought about it?
Of course not. She's just saying that to him.
But she says, I gave it
I
some
thought it over.
It's like, fuck you. Get out of my house.
Right.
But apparently, this is when we find,
He's been recording her.
he's apparently been recording her on his secret tape recorder he, keeps in his pants?
His
Or
Gus is a
secret-
super spy.
keeps up his ass?
His secret giant reel-to-reel that he has hidden under her bed.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so he's recording this all, by the way, on cassette tapes.
He's got Bronson under the bed with a microphone.
No, he has it on a reel-to-reel. And then
Because
he...
I was like, I
Oh,
was
then
shocked
he-
when he
yeah.
had a cassette tape later. And I was like, he puts it in the tape recorder. And I'm like, how is he carrying that around? I would love to have seen like a scene where he's like hiding it from her, you know? He's just pulling it out of his pants. He's like, I'll be right in, you know? And sneaking it into the bedroom.
Kevin
sliding
McAllister
it
with his
under the
talk
bed.
boy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you've used those old recorders, man. You know how close you have to be on the mic to like hear anything. And in this movie, it's like,
He's got it under the pillow.
got it
you
under
know?
the pillow. You can hear everything perfectly.
Maybe he's got like a Bronson under the bed holding it up, you know?
When he plays back the recording, it's just...
Oh, damn
It just sounds like a teacher at a Peanuts cartoon.
Okay, and so at the same time this is going on, right? That he says, I have recorded everything about how you want to kill your husband and everything. David is watching this from the window. He can't hear anything.
Nope.
But he's watching it. No, like, blinds closed or anything, just with his face pressed up against the window. And Crash is just listening from the kitchen like, oh, fuck.
He's downstairs listening.
Yeah, and then Gus leaves, and he basically tells her, like, well, I have you right where I want you, and he does. She's fucked. Like, you know.
Kind of got
Well,
her.
as far as she knows, like, she thinks that there's actually evidence against her, which means
She did something.
right?
Because she's like, yeah, he goes, I have proof you wanted to kill your husband. She never says, I didn't want to kill him. Never said that. She's just like, how dare you?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
But we eventually hear the tape, and he was like, oh, you agreed to split the money with me. Well, no, he's like, when we get married, we're going to be so happy. It was nothing to do with that. It was such a fucking weird plot.
I know. It
It
was
makes
like,
no sense.
So basically Gus leaves and she's all upset. Minx is upset. And then Crash comes running into the room and she's like, I'm innocent. Don't you believe me? And of course he does. And then he goes, well, you look a little upset, so I think I'll play doctor tonight. And he lifts her up and carries her upstairs, puts her in those gold satin sheets, and then says like, here, let me pour you a brandy, which apparently she keeps at her fucking bedside table. There's a lot of times where Minx just is always drinking.
Well, do you see the men in her life?
I see one man.
But I mean, like, brandy next to the bed.
Yeah, it's on the nightstand.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little like, yikes.
Hey.
Well, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night, your throat's dry.
Just need a little splash,
You
you know?
gotta smash the Coke with something on that mirror nightstand.
Okay, so he tucks her to the gold satin sheets, and she's like, please don't leave me alone tonight. And then she finally coerces him into bed, ba-da-ba-ba, as we watch them have sex through a mirror.
Super artsy.
Why did we have to, like, literally the scene's going, I don't know, 4 inches to the right. You just
Yeah.
have to pan. We're
'Cause
going
then
to
it
watch it through a
pans.
mirror.
But then at the end, it pans over, which is even weirder.
Hey, we're watching a film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard makes films, okay?
Right. He's an artist.
So then we go to the meeting, right? So Minx is going to meet Gus. She brought a loaded gun to the car, but Crash is like, no, don't take that, just in case, just don't take it. And she goes into the house while he waits in the car. Then in Gus's house, she just storms into the house, and he's like, all right, I want $250,000. She's all mad, and then he's like, all right, well, let me play you my proof tape. And he plays it, and then she says something like, I never said any of that, and you cut it together. And it's like you said, he's like, what does he have, like a fucking reel-to-reel where he's cutting magnetic tape together?
Yeah,
or something? Like,
he
that
does.
doesn't even make sense.
But we find out later he did.
Okay, so apparently he selectively edited this together to make her sound like it, or she's just claiming this by going like, see these edits on the tape? And Crash is like, yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
But then Gus starts like attacking her.
For no reason, like, you're blackmailing her. If you beat the shit out of her, what happens to you?
Yeah, it's like, that's not going to work, man.
What
like,
if he beat the shit out of her and then she grabbed a knife and killed him? She's no longer getting blackmailed and he's dead.
And nobody's thinking bigger picture in this movie.
Yeah.
No, because the next thing that happens is Crash just runs in through the back door and shoots Gus dead. Like within seconds, just shoots him dead. He runs in, doesn't even say freeze or stop it. He just goes, bam!
Well, he is a country boy. This is
He
that
ain't
old
gonna
time of
miss.
justice.
And okay. Also, by the way, if he's a minor, it's not going to be that bad.
What's a couple? He's gonna be in
Is it a
juvie
month?
for 6 months.
But why were you with your doctor?
Oh, I was fucking her.
High fives all in the courtroom.
That accent. He's GW.
Well, this is what he sounds
I was
like.
fucking her.
Am I wrong? That's what he sounds
No,
like in
dead
the
on.
movie. So Gus attacks her. Yeah, he gets shot. Whoa. Minx takes the gun. She's like, all right, give me the gun. Tells him, like, all right, bring the car up. Then we just immediately cut to Minx's house. They arrive at the house, can't call the cops, need to hide the body. Hey, guys.
Let's listen to the tapes.
Yeah, listen to the tapes.
The master tape.
Now tell me. Okay, hold on. Then all of a sudden, Gus's house. A cop arrives looking for him because apparently it'll be a line delivered, like some random exposition where they're like, yeah, the cleaning guy says he saw Dr. Minx at the house or something.
Oh, was that what they were saying?
Yeah, he was like, said he saw her running from the house. And so then he goes over and he looks for Gus. He can't find him. Then we go back to Minx's house, okay? The cop arrives at the house and Crash and Minx try to create a diversion. And basically Minx comes out and the cop's like, hey, cleaning guy, yeah, saw you leave the house. And apparently the place was robbed. And I was like, so that cleaning guy just went in and grabbed all the shit he could and was like, yeah, and she robbed it too.
Yep. Now, we're going through all this quickly, and that's understandable. I should let the listeners know if anyone wants to watch this. All the things we're talking about, like, super slow it down.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
that what I just explained was 10 minutes.
None of this is happening rapid fire. None of this is that interesting. We've just covered a lot of ground in a little bit of time. And to the degree that around this time in the movie is when my wife, who was watching this with me, stood up in front of the couch, said, "This is so boring, I'm going to die," and then walked out of the room and took a bath.
You're like, you don't want to know how it is? How are they going to get away with it? Oh, come on.
She reached her breaking point, and I didn't blame her ass for a second. Like, absolutely. You go take that bath.
Did you tell her how it ends?
Yes, I eventually told her what happened.
Okay, so the cop leaves. Well, Dr. Minx is like, no, I was just there because...
we had a lunch date or something.
I had a lunch date. And he's like, when's the last time you saw him? And she's like, a long time ago. And he's like, okay, that sounds good to me. Goodbye.
Well, if you notice also, she opens her top while she's talking to him.
Oh,
she fucking seduces him.
That makes...
And if you watch his little sheriff hat, it dips down to her tits when she opens it up.
The sheriff hat dips down.
It's like the sorting hat. It had a mind of its own.
So... The cop leaves, not suspicious at all. It all seems good. Minx and Crash take Gus's body out of the trunk, and I write, maybe, what were you going to say, Hughes?
When they open that trunk and you see Gus's dead body with the wide open eyes, did you not laugh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He looked...
I thought he was going to be alive.
I have my notes at this point. This is going to turn into Weekend at Bernie's.
He looked alive.
And it does at one point. Yeah. It really does. So here's the thing. The cop literally just pulled out of the driveway, and Minx goes, come out here, young boy. Let's open this trunk and get this dead body in the backyard.
Yeah. Let's just hope the sheriff didn't check his rear view as he pulled away.
Okay, also...
That would be so great if he just stops. Hey, what are you guys doing?
Maybe,
Comes back.
Like, maybe he got a sheet or something. No, just carry... By the way, what time of day is it?
Daytime?
Yeah, like fucking 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They pull a dead body out in front of this house, which we've seen in another shot, is on street view. Like, this is on a street. It's not like it's like guarded by large bushes or anything. They pull a dead body out of her car and struggle to drag it to the side yard.
Here's my question. Why they have a 3-car garage?
Just park it on the street. Yeah, they don't even pull it into the garage, the 3-car garage. They don't get a sheet. They don't get like a suitcase, nothing. They just pull a dead body out of the car.
Literally, she's a doctor with a 3-car garage with access to acid.
Yeah.
And could dissolve a body better than burying it.
Yeah, okay. And also, so they're now going to bury the body in the middle of the day, and they're like, you got the shovels, like just screaming to each other. But in the backyard, where clearly their neighbors could see what's going on, they're just like, dig faster. We got to bury this guy.
They spend 6 hours digging and they get about 4 inches deep. And then just go, yeah, good enough.
Yeah, they don't even dig a hole.
Like the gang from Psychomania did a better job.
It was like the actor that was playing dead was claustrophobic, so they couldn't put him in a hole.
Yeah. Like, you would need to dig a deeper hole to plant a tree. Like, and they just kind of roll the dude in. And I don't even think they cover him up. They're just like,
no, they just like put a little bit of dirt on him, call it done, and they say, let's get to sexing.
Yeah.
Let's wipe all this dirt off us and get some fucking filthy sex on us in a bath.
By the way, we're going to talk about it in a second, just like another movie we've seen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way,
we cut back. Okay, go ahead.
By the way, you've been digging in dirt for 6 hours.
Yeah.
You know what the first thing I want to do is go into a 2-person bath and sit in the dirty water.
Yeah.
Not shower off and then go into a fucking bathtub.
Yeah, Hughes, you've been digging for 6 hours. They got 4 inches deep. How many times did they just decide to fuck each other instead of finish that hole? I mean, they found another hole.
Yeah.
But, so before we get to the tub, though, and before they even finish burying him. Quote, burying him. We cut back to Gus's house, and the cop is there, and he finds blood on the wall.
He found a little bit of blood on the corner bead of the wall.
Yeah.
And
not a bullet, by the way, so I guess the bullet didn't go through.
No, just a little bit of blood, and then he wipes it on his fingers, and then he wipes it off on his shirt and walks over to a phone to call.
That's how we handle evidence of the LAPD in 1974. That's just how you do it, you know? Oh, there's blood on me. Wipe it off. Fuck it. Couldn't be Gus's. So then we go to Minx's house. Yes, they bury that body and then jump in that tub. And so, okay, as I write, in typical Grindbin fashion, they get in the tub, a one-person tub with 2 people in it. Like you said, digging for 6 hours, dirty as all hell.
You know, it's just gravel on the bottom of that bath.
That's okay, Hughes, because I think there's a plenty of gravel in this bath. Because where's this bath located?
It's in the forest in Jumanji.
Okay. I've always thought the weirdest in-room bathroom with a tub is in Scarface, when Al Pacino has a hot tub in the middle of a room with carpet surrounding it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is a fucking nightmare. Why on earth would you have a goddamn hot tub in the middle of a carpeted room? Okay, so this tub is not only in the middle of a carpeted room, carpet on one side. By the way, the tub is carpet level.
Yeah, it's a sunken bathtub.
A sunken bathtub, carpet level. Carpet, and surrounding it is like a full planner, like you said, Jumanji. Like there's
Jurassic Park fucking like
ferns.
a
raptor's coming out of this thing. Like you're
Clever girl.
You can see the bush. I mean, seriously, I'm like, this, by the way, is the oddest tub I've ever seen. So it's now taken the award, Best Tub Scene, Dr. Minx. So they're tubbing it up. Do you have it? Okay. Do you have anything to say about this tub? As we've said, the Jurassic Park tub.
I don't have much to say about it. It's bizarre.
It just upsets me in any movie that I see a tub next to carpet, too. Yeah. I'm just like, come on, man. That the last thing you want to do is get carpet wet. So... Okay, so then...
let's talk about what they're talking about in the tub. Brian, I want to get away with you. Let's go somewhere. I want to be somewhere where they're not going to talk about us being together.
Yeah.
And about what they did, too. We got to bury it in our minds like we buried Gus.
It's like, huh?
How young is this kid from this point?
Yeah.
If they're worried, she's worried about what people say when they see them together. Like, oh, is that his mom? It's like, it's that drastic.
Well, that's
so
what I'm
weird.
saying. He's like about to be like, yeah, well, I am a freshman next year, so maybe we wait 4 years or.
Yeah, I don't want to hear his answer.
But instead we cut to
They
David.
kind of discuss where to run away, like some couples discuss where they want to eat dinner.
Monaco.
She's like, I don't care where we go. Well, I don't care where I go as long as I'm doing it with you. Well, I don't care where we go. It's just, they're
in
gonna
her
go back and
defense,
forth like that.
She can go wherever the fuck she wants. She's got $500,000 in 1974. That's like $50 million.
Do you realize how cheap it would be to just hire somebody to kill Gus at this point?
Yeah.
Just hire a guy to take the fall. Be like, hey, I'll give you $25,000 if you go to prison. They'll be like, whatever. So, literally worst. Okay. David is outside now, right? And he finds Gus's body because they didn't fucking bury him.
Right.
It's the middle of the night. They were like, I think we forgot something. Oh, shit. We didn't put him in the hole. Actually, we didn't even dig a hole. Oh, we didn't even put dirt on him. God damn it. Because he just basically walks right over, finds a watch, and then I guess just finds Gus just lying there in the garden, dead.
Yeah, why is he looking?
I don't know.
If he's peeping, he should be in the windows. Why is he on the back wall of the neighbor's house?
Because he's everywhere.
I mean, was he at Gus? I can only assume he was also at Gus's house.
I have
At
no
this point,
idea.
I was starting to question if David was even real. It's just a shared hallucination.
What are you doing, Crash? You dum-dum?
Yeah. Fucking the doctor again, aren't you, dum-dum? Everyone has a kazoo.
Minx and Crash get cozy in that tub, right? Then we go to...
It is an awkward, cramped tub scene. That is not big enough to accommodate that.
No.
The needs that they have in that scene.
And like Hugh said, right after digging a hole, just the bottom filled with gravel. So Crash's house, he's washing a car without a shirt on or something, and David comes over, and now he's fucking dressed like Columbo.
Oh, he is full on Columbo with the trench coat, with I think
with
a wig
cigar.
on. He has a wig on top of his afro.
And this is
and his cigar.
There's no reason for this.
Like,
And
you just
doing
see
all
him buying the wig. They're like, you already got the hair, kid.
No, bigger.
This is some like Eddie Deason bullshit. Like, I got the props already. Hey, what if I showed up as Columbo? I am solving a mystery.
Like, literally as Columbo. I'm going to do his
and he
voice
spends
and
the
everything.
rest of the film as Columbo.
Yeah,
He's
he's not-
hunched over.
He never turns back into David.
Like, now he's hunched
Oh my
over
God.
like Peter Falk.
He's doing it. Just one more question. Look, my wife is always asking me.
Just tell me, David, Crash, where'd you bury the body? Huh?
Just one more thing. One more thing.
Did you kill him or did she?
What are we doing?
Crash just is like, what? He even is like, what are you doing, David? Like, you are fucking insane.
He's like, I'm showing depth, David. Or Brian,
And then he's like,
Look, David, you're my friend, okay? I don't want you to go to jail. So why don't we come up with an alibi for you? I'll give you an alibi. We just need to get our story straight and then bring Minx down to the station and get that bitch in jail.
dude, you wanted to owe David a favor if he lied for you?
absolutely
No,
fucking
dude,
not.
you know what was gonna happen.
If Crash was a smart guy, he'd be like,
Hey, Minx, I think we need to kill David. Like,
Just that easy.
maybe we get rid of him. Nobody will care. His fat uncle, I didn't even know where that guy went.
So David leaves, and then Mom comes out, and she's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And she's like, "You haven't been the same since that accident. Maybe you need to go over to that Dr. Minx again and get some vitamins."
Good work, Mom.
So Crash runs to the phone outside. So the outside phone, apparently, which I was like,
That
did
is
they
a
just
well-to-do family. They got an outdoor phone.
obviously didn't get permission to film in this house,
No.
so they just did it outside.
That's how fancy they are. They got an outdoor phone and an inside toilet.
Whoa. Dad, gum.
Boy, howdy. So he calls Dr. Minx, and he's like,
Hey, Minx, hey, David knows about Gus, that we killed him.
He knows. He knows.
so we need to move that body real quick. And she's like, oh, fuck. So they get in a car and they're driving and they're going to go hide the body. And Minx goes, where nobody will ever find him. But before that, let's pull into this motel and get a room, huh?
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines is coming up because she gets out of the car to go and get the room. And she goes, can I get a room for 2? And he goes, 2 minutes or 2 hours?
Hey.
When have you ever had I've gone into hotels and just said can I get a room? They never ask me how many people are staying there or anything. Online they do, but they never charge me more for 2. They're like 2 people fit in this room.
Online they will. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Online,
I've never
you
had
fill it in.
when I've gone into this.
I've never actually just walked up to a hotel and been like, I need a room. I've only booked online.
I've never done that.
I've done that.
But
All right, Hughes.
whoever, if you are going with a group of people, whoever puts more than 2.
Dude,
I don't.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not getting charged more. What are they going to do? Kick me out? I already paid.
But it was just a weird scene to put in there. Then it turns into something from here on. Because then they get their room and they're like, let's just go in the room, and then they lay down. And she goes,
Okay. Yeah.
Also, by the way, we passed over this,
middle
but
of the
when
day.
she first pitches the idea, he goes, well, I got to call my mom first. She's expecting me for dinner.
no,
Yeah.
that comes after that. So they lay down in there, and he goes, I gotta call my mom. And then she goes, well, don't use the phone here because that guy knows your mom. So go walk
He
outside.
says he's nosy.
Oh, he's
He seems
nosy.
nosy. 'Cause
He asks questions.
He wanted to know how many minutes I was staying, like I'm a prostitute bringing a young man to a motel for the hour in the middle of the day.
That's another one of those misogyny things, actually.
Which,
It's just because a pretty lady is like, I need a hotel room for the night. He's like, whore.
Well, I need a hotel room for 2.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about this hotel.
Like, you can't be a doctor and her partner.
Yeah, the other thing about a motel, like a no-tell motel, is if you have a nosy,
You got the terminology and everything. How many late night liaisons
Yeah.
have you spent at these hotels?
if you have
Motel,
a
motel.
nosy housekeeper, whatever this guy is, guy that takes care of the motel, if he's nosy, that place won't stay in business.
I believe they're
It's
called the
about-
concierge.
Yeah, it's about being discreet and not talking. The
Yeah.
cops come to find you. He goes I haven't seen him. It's that kind
also,
of place.
it's not the type of place where you're going to fill out the guest registry.
Yeah.
Because he's like, fill this out, please. And she's like, okay.
He's gonna listen to your phone call. Hey, Mom, I'm staying in this motel here, and I'll talk to you later. So what?
Also, by the way, this annoyed me, is that she gave him a 20 and said, keep the change. And I was like, how much is that in 1974? Seriously, $300 for a $20 bill in 1974? Just to fucking leave us alone style?
Yeah.
Here's a 20, leave
So
me alone.
If you've tipped him, you over tipped him and done all that stuff. Why the fuck do you think he would do anything with you guys? You don't listen
Exactly.
to it.
Well, because that arose suspicion that she said, here's a $20 bill, keep the change. And then she's like, in retrospect, that was probably a mistake.
I thought at this point when she made him leave to go talk on the payphone, she was gonna plant something in his bags or something to frame him.
what does she do while he goes out to use the payphone? She pulls out a fucking gun and makes sure it's loaded and cocks the hammer back and everything. I'm like, the hell's going on here?
We got a Black Widow on our hands.
Yeah, what the hell?
Wouldn't that have been interesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Crash calls his mom and she is livid.
I like that his excuse for his mom was, I had to go away with the doctor to see a patient.
Out of town.
How the hell? His mom just takes anything, man.
And she's like, what do you mean you're out of town? You're coming back tonight.
I'll send David.
You're 14 years old. You can't just stay a motel.
Only she never said, I'll send David. David's not real.
No, she did
She said, yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
She
I'm
goes,
ruining your theory.
where are you?
Yeah, you're
And
like,
then-
they're like, fuck your joke. I understand. All right, cool.
She also knows the town he's in because this happened off screen. Is apparently there was an operator who told her what city he was
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Pure Blossom or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck? Where
And so
are they?
apparently she's sending David to the one motel in Pure Blossom.
David is her go-to move for any situation. She's like, call David.
Yeah. So then he goes back to the room and they just decide to take care of business right now. They're like, fuck, we just got to go bury that body. Why didn't we just do that in the first place, by the
Right.
way? Why did we stop at this motel? And so then they go to the car with fake lightning effects where somebody was like, look at this. If you put like a negative thing on a film, it looks like a lightning. And they're like, not really, Howard, but okay. And so they're
I'm gonna take your word on it, Howie.
they're in some sort of lightning storm, lightning and thunderstorm, and they're driving up some sort of fucking hill that's a mountain.
This is the longest drive.
And Minx says something like, okay, this is a place where nobody's gonna find this body. They drive up a public road to like a fucking crack house at the top of this cliff, and they walk this guy out of the trunk. Again, no sheet, nothing, like Weekend at Bernie's. They put him between themselves.
Well,
and
they
they're
had
what's on?
to. Like, she couldn't carry him, and the kid couldn't carry him.
if only a cop had shown up at this point and they were like, oh, hi, officer, and raised his hand and everything.
Our friends had one too many here.
They completely changed the movie.
Don't mind us, just going to this flop house over here, you
We're
know.
just trying to take him home.
Three's all right with us, you know. So
It's the 70s.
apparently they walk into this abandoned house. Minx gets, like, for 10 minutes, they walk around this house, which has now immediately become dark.
Man, we're padding this runtime.
And they walk into a room, and she gets scared by a scarecrow that somebody put in this room.
Yeah, that was a fun touch.
Then their plan is to just throw him onto a mattress in this house with a gunshot wound and their fingerprints all over him. Just throw him on a mattress and leave.
Yeah, but it's,
Nobody,
it's
like-
74. That's not getting back to you
Yeah,
if you drive
nobody
away.
ever thinks about, like, fire. Like, just set it the whole
Especially-
thing on
yes,
fire.
Yes.
We got the scarecrow right here to get that fire started.
But and then like for no reason it becomes a horror movie for like 10 seconds when a mattress, like a metal bed frame, like falls against a door and they're like,
Yeah.
and then
Why
they
not?
just run out of the house like Scooby-Doo. Well, with the music too.
Yeah.
Then they go to the motel and Crasher makes her back. They're like, I need a shower. And then old cockblock Columbo shows up
Hey, dum-dum.
and he's like at the window and
And only David can see him.
yeah, and David's like,
He is
oh,
David.
Oh shit, it's David. And he goes outside and he's like, hey Crash, your mom's real pissed. You need to come back home. And he's like, no. And he's like, if you don't come back home, I'm going to the cops. And he goes, you know what? Go to the cops. I don't even care anymore.
To which David says, you're digging your own grave, sucker.
And then he leaves, and I guess he's going to the cops.
Yep.
So we see, okay, by the way, this is interspersed, so that's not going to let Crash and Minx's night get ruined. Come on.
No. We are going to have that shower, and it's going to be this weird, like, heartfelt moment because they're in the shower and like she's in front of the shower head and he's behind. And if you've ever been two people in the shower, you know one person's hot, one person's cold. They actually leave that in the movie where she's like, "Oh my god, the water's so hot," and you see him in the back goes, "Shit, it's cold back here," and grabs handfuls of hot water to put over him. That's the scene.
He just loves the attention to detail. Dr.
Yeah,
Minx,
that's the
you know?
touch.
Howard knows. Like
I
again,
can relate. I've been in that situation.
because Howard's an artist.
He's an artist.
Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Also, by the way, before they get in the shower, Minx says, "Go ahead and get the sheriff. It's our word against his." And I write, because Minx and Crash are stupid.
Oh, yeah. Just beautifully stupid.
Something the sheriff and David, which is even stupider. They go to Minx's backyard and David's like, there's a body buried here. There's a body buried here. All right, I saw him do it. And he's like, David,
In his
stand
Columbo
up
gear.
straight.
Yeah. In his
Stand
fucking
up straight,
Columbo
asshole. I know you don't have a hunch.
Yeah.
And light that cigar or fucking get rid of it, okay? And take off that goddamn fro.
Yeah, I've seen the show, you little shit.
And he's like, David, says something like, David, I had to stop my supper to help you out with this one. And he's like, yeah, well, we're going to find a body. There's no body. And there's not even a hole because they never dug the hole. And he's like, I don't see anything but 2 shovels in the backyard, David. Fuck you. Don't bother me again. And then he just walks off.
He says, "I'll arrest you if you bother me."
I want to arrest your friends. Because he's like, that lady's a bitch. Can't you just put her in prison or something?
No, we're throwing you in a cell.
I mean,
and then you're not going to be able to show up for Columbo or Welcome Back, Kotter.
It's the LAPD. I know you just arrest people whenever you want. Can't you just do it this one time, please?
And he's like, you're right, I do arrest people whenever I want. Now stop bothering me.
Then we go to Minx and Crash. They're rolling around in bed, and Minx says, I want to make love to you like a barracuda.
And that is...
And I was like, well, that's a violent fish.
That is an ugly looking fish.
I want to make love to you like a thresher shark. What?
So then we go to Minx's house. They're back, and shitty Columbo confronts them. It's the next day, right? And they're like, can you just leave us alone, David? Seriously, this is getting old.
Did you see what he did? So Columbo's off screen in like the backyard of the doctor's house, and he has like a brown paper bag, and he like pulled out like it looked like a voice recorder that he set. And he pulled out a gun that he put into his pocket. He pulled out 2 things.
So he goes, but I got the key piece of evidence that I didn't show the cops.
Right.
The watch.
The watch that has an engravement that you put on it, Dr. Minx, that says, with love from Minx, we killed your husband. Again, this doesn't prove anything.
No.
That kind of work can be done on the weekend.
If anything, you know what they should have done? They should have been like, officer, we found out who robbed that guy's house. He's got the watch.
Done. This one's open and shut. Take the cosplayer away.
I would have loved it, though, if it had written that on the back of the watch. We killed my husband and buried him. I love you. We'll be married soon and split the money. Sincerely, Dr. Minx. On the back of a Rolex.
It's like an early form Venmo.
I'm
for
actually
killing my husband.
I'm into your LARPing idea of the Columbo, but do like either like NCIS, CSI, Law and Order. Instead of doing fantasy worlds, just do cop shows and everybody dresses.
Cop LARPing?
Cop LARPing.
Yeah, well, if I ever go to a Comic-Con, I'm dressing up as Columbo, I guess.
You should, actually. Can we all start cop LARPing? That sounds so amazing.
I'm going to be hunched over, just being like, I got a good lead. And people are just going to be like, who the fuck are you supposed
Hughes
to be?
and I are going to be Crockett and Tubbs.
Ooh.
George W. Columbo, kid? Get out of here.
I got my loafers and no socks.
Hell yeah.
My rolled up sleeves.
It's going to be great.
We're going to come in on a big boat.
Okay, so this part, by the way, this is amazing. He's like, okay, well, you don't believe the watch? Well, then fuck you. You better confess right now. And he pulls out a gun, and then he just shoots Crash in the face.
He freaks out and just blammo.
Just for no reason. He's like, David, don't shoot me. And then he goes, pow! Oh, God! and
And
Crash,
he has an emotional breakdown. This is the first actual acting this kid does.
yeah, because Crash is on the ground. I mean, just
Bleeding
this is
from
a
the
gusher.
neck.
Like, it's the aortal artery or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's fucking done.
Crash is fucked.
And Minx is like, oh, shit, I'm a doctor, but I know this is shitty. Like,
Yeah, she's seen these before.
She goes, get him in the car. Get him in the car. That would have been great if she's like, hold on, no, I need a sheet because I don't want to get it dirty, you know. Put him in the trunk. But she puts him in the front seat. David doesn't come with them. She doesn't let him go. Also, it would have been nice because she'd be like, keep pressure on it. But nah, fuck it. You know, she's a doctor. I think she wanted this to happen. He's bleeding out, and he's like giving his whole thing. He's like, you know what? I just want to tell you, Dr. Minx, I'm going to die. And she's like, don't stop it. You're not going to die.
This is a real Reservoir Dogs. Like, they're driving. She's like, say the fucking words.
He's like, I just want you to know I love you. And if I had to do it all again, I'd do it exactly the same.
And I was like, really?
Really? The whole thing?
The whole thing?
Kill Gus?
Even like
All
kill
that.
a Gus?
Every
and
one of
get
the,
shot
everything
and-
exactly the same.
Maybe make a few changes. I'm just saying. It's like, no, David, it's going to be fine. They get to the hospital. They roll over to the emergency room.
And she has this great delivery. She goes, oh, dear God, please. Let him live. Like, play the clip. Like, put
Yeah,
that in
for
there.
sure, for
There's
sure.
a couple spots where I hope you play the clip.
You know it would have been even better if Edie had dropped in. She kissed him on the lips and she goes, "Good night, sweet prince."
Yep. Yes. Yes.
That's in the Hughes version for sure.
No, it's not because of the way this movie ends.
So then his parents and David, who invited like, get the fuck out
David,
of
who
here,
I
dude.
guess is going to face no charges.
David, who's been trying to kill Brian the entire movie.
Well, trying to fuck Brian the whole movie.
And once
If
he realized he
fuck
can't have him.
yeah, nobody can have him. Also, he's blaming the murder on Minx.
You
Come
know,
on.
the motorcycle crash was like this misery part where he's going to take care of him.
He's going to break his knees.
The original plan was like, no, David, we don't need the sexy doctor. You can come to my house with my fat uncle, and I'll take care of you.
I could be a sexy doctor.
Sing to me, Brian.
What has she got that I don't? I swung by Pleasure Dome. I have outfits.
Look, David, is that what you like, huh? So this movie ends with her going out of the hospital room and seeing all of them there. The parents, who are also very clueless as to what's going on. Like, nobody told them the kid got shot. They're like, I guess we'll just go to the hospital on a stroll. Oh, a kid's here? Better go check it out.
What were the chances?
Yeah, he's with the doctor. What could be wrong? Oh, David,
Probably
you want to
getting
drive
vitamins.
us? David, why are you covered in blood holding that gun in the hospital?
You been crying, David? You cutting onions?
So the end of this movie is Edie Williams doing her best to just kind of she's trying to get those waterworks working, but they just
In
ain't turning
classic
on. You know?
Grindbin fashion,
No.
they just won't come.
No, this was completely planned in. The whole part of the movie, I think this scene cements the whole movie is she walks out, she is crying, and right as they're about to freeze frame, her crying frown turns to a smile, and she got away with it.
It's true.
Ooh.
It's true. Because she said the last line, she goes, I'm sorry, he's dead. Like, she just sniffed an onion, trying real hard, right? And then they walk in the room, and she says, she walks towards the camera.
She's weeping, and she's like, ugly crying. And then, like, that half a frame before they pause just turns into this smile. Like, it was like
man.
the fucking Usual Suspects.
That
turn.
makes...
Oh, that's great. Or the thriller turn.
Yeah.
So, great Grindbin movie, I'd say. Like, absolutely great to discuss.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here come the recommendations, though. Hughes, what do you think?
If you're going to watch this movie, 2X. Because I did not think it was long like everybody else did, because it was half the time.
It's a decent 40 minutes.
I would say this, though. I do recommend it on 2 times. Like, because it's on YouTube. You're not going to miss anything. Like, it's so long and drawn out. This would make a great 40 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
on normal speed, I can't recommend it on normal speed. It
No.
is boring.
oh, yeah. It's boring.
But if you like the kind of movies we cover, this is prime Grindbin material.
And I do have an...
Especially with that kind of ending. He's dead.
I love, like, I have a soft spot for Howard and Venice movies. Like, they're
'Cause they
always
end that
so
way.
good. Everybody dies. Scorchy gets
cautionary
shot in the
tale.
crotch. Scorchy gets shot right in the vagina at the end of that movie.
Yeah,
and it
our
ends
heroes
on that
are
scene.
fucked at the end of each thing.
The end of Scorchy is her getting shot right in the puss. And a bloody shot of her, just credits roll over a freeze frame of her going, ow! Take that, you whore. That's basically
Pretty much how Howard likes to end his movies.
And this one, it's like, hey, young kid, you fucked an old lady, you're gonna die. That's how the teacher ends, and that's how this one ends.
Stay away from him.
It's a morality play. They're like, Howard,
I'm trying to teach the kids something.
we're
here.
trying to get the kids to have to have sex with the teacher, something to be titillated by this all. But you keep making them, you keep shaming people for jacking off. It's like going to see a Bible, this movie. I don't know about you, Howard.
I think he's been working with Pat Boone. He's like, no, we got to get the kids to stop it.
So, if you've heard that sound,
Oh,
how
yeah.
do you think Bobby DeVito fit in this world? Hughes, you are raising those finger guns.
You got-
You're ready to go.
I'm going to take this baback to the end of the van.
Oh, wow.
After the van crashes.
This was exactly what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Damn you, Hughes.
It makes so much sense. The van crashes. Bobby rolls out and is taken to the hospital. He wakes up in bed to this beautiful nurse. Oh, excuse me, doctor.
Dear God.
And she takes him. He's like, "Oh, you're good. You're ready to go, but you need a shot. So just come on over to my house." So he goes over for the night. They're having their dinner, and they hear a knock.
God damn you.
She opens it as Danny.
Dress as Columbo.
Yeah, I'm looking for my friend, see? Bobby.
And this time she goes, Bobby, did you invite your friend, Danny? And he goes, yeah, I hope that's okay.
Did she then go, 3's all right with me?
Oh, yeah.
He pulls out a National Geographic and goes, you ever been to France?
And then... Sorry, it was exactly how this had to go.
I know.
great. That's great.
That was the obvious one, and you're right. Like, I was thinking that the whole time. Like, oh, God. It's great.
As you know, I'm thinking of a shared universe here, and I think after this whole thing happens and he's dead, she needs to get back to work, and she gets her next call, and there's a yellow ambulance that pulled up with her friend Scorchy in the back. We got a one with multiple gunshots that needs to be treated right now, and the two kind of oddly dressed paramedics roll in. They're like, "All right, we need a small room and some chloroform."
Hurry, doctor, hurry.
Well, Hughes, that was mine, but let me see if I can come up on the fly. I don't know. That was it. Like, that was just
I think that's
the
the
perfect
perfect
one, you know?
Yeah, you don't need to.
It was the perfect one. I just love the idea of DeVito coming over dressed as Columbo. He's got the cigar and everything.
I got a hot tip.
I would just love the idea of Scorchy and Minx in the same movie. Like, I can't get over this. Like, God,
That's the
Howard
sequel we
missed,
needed.
Like, Connie Stevens,
I
Edie
can't wait
Williams.
to watch that movie one day because of how you guys do her voice, like a fucking like flapper. Like she talks like an old Chicago flapper.
Sometimes she tries to
Let's go
talk.
to see me.
She tries to talk like Jimmy Cagney. Like she's like,
Hatcha, see? I stayed in wherever it was. I stayed in a shitty taverna. Didn't even get laid once, you see.
she's great. So, thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Grindbin.
Yeah, like us on Facebook, hate us on Twitter.
Yeah, grindhousefilm.com. Yep. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Just one more question, Bobby.
Tears fall like rain from the clouds up above. For people who live on the dark side of love. For them, gone is the melody of love's old sweet song. But right or wrong, they still string along. All those who cheat on their husbands and wives may carry the guilt for the rest of their lives. There may be nothing but shadows hiding the light above. For people who live on the dark side of love. All those who make an obsession of sex may end up to be psychological wrecks. There'll be an uncertain future, hardly worth dreaming of. For all those who live on the dark side of love.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the tea. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
What is seduction? Spooky ain't got no real rhythm.
Hello, Mr. Man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love funny games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
This is Los Angeles.
How the hell would women live? I'm horny. And maybe Daddy wouldn't have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore. What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get green. And